I don't know the gentleman, but for his own protection, he's got kids there. So I think for his own protection, I need to take a video as a citizen. That's ridiculous.
Everyone else, please move on. Go, Judith.
I'm for his own protection, I'm taking a video, mate.
I'm videoing, so it's fine.
Well, you're not video facing me. You're not video.
Everyone else is videoing as well.
Yep, that's
Thank you. You've already said you want to move on.
Yeah, I am going to move on.
Now.
Look at this. Look at this. Με παιδί. Παίρνει το παιδί.
Oh my God! Fuck off! Dickheads! Oh my God!
Look at this. Hey. They're literally starting this, mate. We're just fucking standing here. What the fuck was that?
I am not under arrest for anything.
Why is she under arrest?
You need to get your
Why is she under arrest? Can you grab Victor? Can you grab Victor, please? Immediately. Why is she under arrest? Why is she under arrest? Why is she under arrest? Tell me why. Why is she under arrest? 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 Prove it. Prove why she's under arrest. Stop. Prove why she's under arrest. Where is the order? You are not getting the order. Victor! 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 Victor!
Millions, as you witness, who are scared right now. What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
I say that you're a terrible reporter. That's what I say.
The World Health Organization today officially designating coronavirus as a global pandemic.
Congress's in-house doctor told Capitol Hill staffers at a closed-door meeting this week that he expects 75 to 150 million people in the United States to contract the coronavirus.
New tests led by the U.S. government scientists show the virus can live in the air for several hours and on some surfaces for up to 3 days.
Millions, as you witness, who are scared right now. What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
I say that you're a terrible reporter. That's what I say. Go ahead.
I
I think it's a very nasty question, and I think it's a very bad signal that you're putting out to the American people. The American people are looking for answers, and they're looking for hope. And you're doing sensationalism, and the same with NBC and Comcast. I don't call it Comcast. I call it Concast. Let me just, for whom you work, let me just tell you something. That's really bad reporting.
Now, you know I like Bill Maher, this American commentator. Very left, very hardcore left, disagree with a lot of his politics, but he's very good when it comes to cultural stuff. Remember this front page. This was a front page in the Channel 9 newspapers. Australia prepares for 50,000 to 150,000 coronavirus deaths. This was never going to happen, and certainly wasn't going to happen at the time that it was published, when we had already started to do things like travel bans and we were on our way to having to stay at home. Well, Bill Maher calls this stuff out because he refers to it as disaster porn. It is 100% correct. Here's part of what he had to say on his show in the United States, and I thought it was worth playing because the bloke is absolutely bang on here, and I hope the Channel 9 newspaper's trying to freak everyone out at paying attention.
And finally, new rule, now that we're starting to see some hope in all this, don't hope shame me. You know, the problem with nonstop gloom and doom is it gives Trump the chance to play the optimist. And optimists tend to win American elections. News sources have to rein it in. Everyone knows Corona is no walk in the park, because you literally can't walk in the park. But at some point, the daily drumbeat of depression and terror veers into panic porn. Enough with the life will never be the same headlines. And stop showing us this. You know, everything looks scary when you magnify it 1,000 times. Here's a pubic hair. Boo! Last month, the Washington Post ran the headline, "It feels like a war zone," with this picture. This is not a war zone. This is a man with a box of eggs. And I've never seen a war zone with this much bacon. Or how about this one? Horrifying simulation reveals the dangers of jogging during the coronavirus pandemic. Look, this virus is easy to catch, but if you can't avoid it jogging, you can't outrun much. Another recent Times headline was, "It's terrifying. Millions more out of work." What the is "it's terrifying" doing in a headline? Granted, it's a quote, but who are they quoting? Trump? Fauci? Stephen King? No, they're quoting an event planner in North Hollywood. No offense to the event planners of the world. It's amazing what you people can do with pine cones and silver spray paint. But why are you in my headline?
Brilliant. It is my least favourite trope they do in the newspapers, where they take a quote like that from somebody unimportant and throw it up right in the thing to try to scare the living out of people. Pay attention. Clickbait. It's terrible at a time like this.
But before I show you the figures of hope, I want you to consider why it is that you're not hearing this good news from many other media outlets, and why instead you're hearing only panic and fear and doom. Why you're hearing the alarmism that forces politicians to enforce yet more and more restrictions so that we'll soon live like prisoners in our own homes, while the dole queues around the country caused by those restrictions get longer and longer and longer. So many lives being destroyed. Now, let me explain that. Now, I've been in journalism for nearly 40 years. I've seen it up close, and I don't like a lot of what I've seen. The groupthink, the sensationalism, the exaggerations, the pandering to ignorance. In this crisis, when so many Australians are suffering, too many journalists are not stepping up to their responsibility, which I think is this: to be informed and to be calm. Now, let me give you the latest examples from the past 24 hours of the kind of journalism I don't think we can afford anymore. The scapegoating, for instance. Here is 2GB broadcaster Ray Hadley today blaming an unnamed official from the New South Wales Department of Health for the death of another passenger on the Ruby Princess, a woman who died a couple of days ago. Now, the Ruby
death has been caused by the stupidity of someone in New South Wales Health. Someone died because of a decision taken by a public servant or by someone in government, and that person needs to be held to account for that death.
Now, that scapegoating is utterly, utterly false. The passenger who died, the woman a few days ago, was in her 70s, and she caught the coronavirus on the ship. And by the time we got to Sydney, she was so sick she had to be taken straight to hospital in an ambulance. Now, of course, health officials are to blame for crazily letting off the passengers of the Ruby Princess before they got the results of the testing of them. And they've spread the virus around the country. There's 25 people just in South Australia alone, as a consequence, have got the virus. And on the other hand, you've got to accept that our health officials are working their backsides off under huge pressure, trying to deal with a virus that few people understand. And someone did make a mistake with the Ruby Princess, but blaming them for this woman's death is totally unfair, unnecessary, and does nobody any good. Then there was this thing last night from Carrie Bickmore of The Project, Channel 10, complaining that our politicians weren't telling her what to do in the detail that she apparently needed.
Be clear, lead us, tell us what you want us doing, what you don't want us doing, and then we can follow suit. But leaving it up to us to guess when this is not something we've navigated before, I think is really hard.
Yeah, you're kind of asking people to make decisions when we're not actually qualified to make them.
Now, I got on well with Carrie whenever I appeared on the project, but we in the media have a special responsibility now. If we don't know what people should be doing, we should find out and tell the audience ourselves. The politicians are flat out trying to get on top of this crisis and to communicate with a public that's often too lazy to listen. Presenters and journalists must themselves help get out the message. We can't leave it to politicians alone, just sit on the sidelines throwing stones at them. We're all in this together. And finally, there's the doom-mongering and the sensationalism. Now, I could give you a million examples of that, but this is the one that really got me today of all days. Here's Labor's health spokesman, Chris Bowen.
The fact of the matter is, Fran, we have to be honest with people. What's been put in place so far is not working. We need to do more.
Nothing is working? That is false. That is irresponsibly alarmist. It makes people needlessly scared. And yet here is Channel 7 spreading the same false message of doom on its website. No measures taken so far to flatten the curve have had any effect on stopping the spread of COVID-19. Wrong.